Well, good afternoon, or actually, depending on what time you see this, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. My name is Nyla Boyo, and I am your facilitator of the conversation today, talking about being rooted and not rattled. Our focus is building professional resilience in dynamic work environments while navigating change, confidence, clarity, and composure. Giving you a heads up, I'm recording this and there is no live audience, so this is new for me. So my presentation is on this screen, but my computer is recording on this screen. So if I look over, that's what I'm looking at. I'm not being weird, I promise. Okay, so I'm a firm believer in before I try to tell you what to do and how to do it, I need to first let you know who and what I am. So, like I stated, my name is Nyla Boyo. I am one of the assistant directors for the Office of New Maverick Orientation at the University of Texas at Arlington. And I am a first generation college student. I got my bachelor's in of science and communications and my master's of science in higher education from Texas A&M University at Commerce, when we were still called Commerce. That's where I know Vashti from. Shout out to you for thinking of me for this presentation. The flag that you see in the corner, if I could point to it, it represents my dad's side of my family, my Nigerian roots and my heritage. The city at the very bottom of the screen is New Orleans, Louisiana. That is my mom and her side of the family and where we come from. I'm a transplant baby, but I've been here for so long. Texas is definitely home, but we are from New Orleans, Louisiana, and we were Katrina kids, but we moved before the storm came, thankfully. The purple Black woman that looks fit and cute, that is who I see myself as. I'm a Pilates girl currently. I fell off, but I'm like starting to get back onto it. I'm a plant mom. If you could see my house, it's a jungle. I'm not gonna lie to you. I am an auntie to some lovely nephews and a couple nieces, but this is the only biological nephew of mine. Below that, those are my higher education friends that I met at a conference a few years ago, and we met there that weekend, went out every single night, and the rest was history. And we literally just had a virtual Zoom party, like a vision board party, so we could like talk about what our goals were for 2026. Trying to get to know them as the years go on, and it's kind of cool to figure out how do we adapt it to us all being in different cities, states, etc. And the biggest block on the picture collage is my family, my brother, my mom, and my sister. They are the reason that I'm in the position that I am today, and they are my support system, the people that I can go back and fall back on. Period. Let's keep going, Miami. So today we're going to talk through a few things. One, the main topic is workplace adaptability. We're going to talk about and define exactly what that is, and then we're going to practice receiving feedback. People don't like feedback, and it's something that I think it is a good thing to always get, because how do you grow if you don't know the spaces that you need to improve upon? Identifying some of your stress triggers, what makes you stress out, what is causing you to become your cortisol levels to flare up and go down, up, sideways, all that, child. And then we're going to evaluate adaptability's impact on the long-term career success. Period. You see my little pictures? I'm doing a little something. So first and foremost, what is workplace adaptability? So by the definition that I looked up and was thinking about for this presentation, we're going to say that workplace adaptability is the ability to adjust your behavior and mindset in response to change while still remaining effective and professional. The best term that I can associate with adaptability in the workplace is code switching. How do you come in and how do you adapt to the environment around you? But also remember, it's not about being passive, it's about being responsive. How are you responding to things that can trigger you in the moment or things that can stress you out? What are you doing? What does adaptability look like? It looks like staying calm when things shift. So my biggest example would go back to the job that I do, orientation. If you have been through orientation and you're in college or working on a college campus, I'm pretty sure you have in some sort of way. You know that orientation changes every single day and things change on the fly. So people may come up to me that day going off on me because something didn't go right in a session that they were supposed to be at early to check and make sure that things were running correctly. A student may be lost on campus because they wandered off, even though we have to keep up with 500 students. It's about staying calm when things shift, and it's also about asking solution-oriented questions. So I'm a big person on if you're giving me a problem, also give me a solution. If I'm presenting you with a problem, I'm gonna do my best to present you with a solution. It's about receiving feedback without shutting down. As a young professional, still evolving and growing, I think I still struggle with that myself. Sometimes I think things are personal, and I have to remember this is a job. My location says rent is always due, so people know where I am. At the end of the day, I'm walking in here no matter how I feel, and I'm gonna get my job done. I can adapt to my environment and get what needs to be done. It's also about maintaining professionalism under pressure. Sometimes I want to curse. Sometimes I want to go toe to toe with a supervisor. You can't. In dynamic environments, adaptability builds credibility. I think I said that in the previous slide. Adaptability, or I think it may be coming up, but it builds credibility as time goes on. And then credibility also builds opportunities, period. So just how are you controlling your temper? Making sure you don't go too crazy on people. And I think a big thing that we don't talk about enough is like why this stuff actually matters. The professionals who grow the fastest are not the ones who avoid stress, they're the ones who regulate themselves through it. I have seen and I have also been able to be a part of experiences where leaders are promoted because of how they adapt to situations. As a supervisor, I want a person that's not going to freak out when something happens. I want a person that is reliable. I want a person, when I think about somebody for a promotion, leadership, additional responsibilities, and like who I'm looking for that, I think about a person that can pivot. I think about a person that can manage pressure. I think about a person that can actually take feedback and welcomes feedback. And I think about a person that can maintain their composure. Currently going through a situation to where I know for a fact that I'm qualified to do a position, I'm qualified to be in my boss's position. I'm always nervous that I'm not emotionally mature enough to be the team leader in the sense of I don't adapt well. Sometimes I react before I think, and I'm daily and actively trying to unlearn this behavior and do better. But it's a point even for me, and I'm like what a few years into my journey. So it's not something that goes away just by not thinking about it. It's something you actually have to address if you want to be successful in a personal career or a professional career, really. I think about an athlete in high school, the football player who is kind of wasn't the brightest on the academic side, but you were a great football player. I don't want to be a great leader, but I'm not growing in the way that I need to where if I ever become the head of a team, my team would fall through the wayside because I don't know how to adapt to what they need from me. But also, there's a second layer to that. I don't know how to adapt what my supervisor needs from me and find a healthy compromise. I hope that made sense. That was like a really roundabout way, but adaptability and how you show up builds credibility, and the credibility builds opportunities. For example, my vice president of student affairs, which you really, in the position that I'm in as an assistant director, you really don't talk to those people a lot. Like you see them and you hear about them and you hear from them, but you don't really like have personal relationships with the people in those positions. Because of the work that I do and because of how I can adapt to things on the fly, we can still make lemonade out of the lemons that we are sometimes getting thrown. I have been given additional duties, responsibilities, and in the most humble way, a lot of opportunities. And I know that's because they trust me to get things done. That was a lot. So I hope that that made sense. Leaders who get promoted are the ones who adapt well. They're also the high performing teams that pivot quickly. And then they're also organization that value emotional regulation. So people that get promoted in life, they have all three of these things and they adapt to things really well. So they're able to get additional opportunities because of that. Case scenario time. Again, this was supposed to be in person. So we're going to do a case study activity and it is scenario based. And the scenario is you plan a major program or presentation and the day of your keynote speaker cancels. That's actually happened to me before. So what do you do? And before I continue, and I pause the video so you can actually do the activity, write down these three different questions. The first one is, what is your immediate emotional reaction? Number two, What stays within your control? And then number three, what is your professional response? Let me pause the video, chat. And we're back. So, what were your responses? Talk to me about it. So, resilience is not the absence of stress, it is controlled problem solving under pressure. My mom has this saying that life may have tried to knock her down a lot of times, but her knees never hit the mat. And I think that is such a testament to how, again, things can change. Life will give you challenges and throw a lot of monkey wrenches in plans. It's not about how you start in life, it's honestly about how you finish. It's not about you being knocked down. Always get back up. If things go left, always know how to maintain yourself in that moment and then get back up and try again. The difference between reaction and response is professionalism. And if you ever find yourself in a moment to where you just got some really horrible news and you got to take a second, walk out your office and take a second. I work in a basement in our student center. So we have a restroom, and somebody told me that they go in there and they flush the toilet a couple times, but they're yelling and they're screaming, but it's drowned out by the noise. And it's like a sense of you're flushing down those emotions in that moment. And I think sometimes in the moment you may need those. I had a kind of an emotional breakdown. Shout out to Ariel from conduct at the time. I was planning the very first Mavs meet convocation for UTA, and it was something that had got thrown on my desk, and I had like maybe 4 to 6 weeks to plan out an event that honestly takes months to get done, only because you gotta work with different companies, agencies, hire speakers, performances, things like that. Y'all, I held it together. And the day of, people were giving me different demands, requests, pulling me this way, pulling me that way. I'm only one person. And I invited my mama. And at the very end of all of that, we sat down. Well, number one, I cried in the middle of that. And a couple women, they came in and they were able to calm me down. I was triggered in that moment by a couple things that were happening. Anyway, and then later on, my mom was there again, my support system. She was there. We sat down at the end of everything. They were cleaning up, and I just broke down. I was like, girl, I've been stressed out for the longest time, but I have to, and I had to learn how to function even through pressure and fear. That was a lot and a roundabout way to say resilience is not the absence of stress, it is controlled problem solving under pressure. How do you get back up when things fall? How do you navigate that space? Stuff like that. Now let's talk about how do you receive constructive feedback? How do you receive criticism? Be honest with yourself. When you receive constructive feedback, what is your first reaction? Are you defensive? Are you embarrassed? Are you frustrated? Are you motivated? Feedback can feel personal, but here is the shift. Feedback is data, it's not identity. There is a three-step framework for handling feedback effectively. The first step is to pause. Do not respond emotionally in that moment. Do your best to regulate your emotions. If that's you taking a pause and counting for 3 seconds, one, two, three, just pause and take a step back. Step number two, clarify. Ask questions. Can you give me an example? What would improvement look like? I think sometimes people can always tell you what they don't like, but they can always give you a problem, but they can't give you a solution. I throw things back at people. Okay, bet. So you're telling me this, give me an example what that looks like. If I'm getting a project, I have learned to always ask clarity in the early stages. What are you looking for exactly? What do you want the learning objectives to be? So that way I have something to build it off of, and then I can again make sure that your needs are also being met in that moment. So I always ask questions, no matter the setting that you're in. I would rather you ask too many questions than not ask anything, and then everything that you did be wrong. And step number three is implementing said feedback. Growth is demonstrated through actions, not agreement. It's like the sense of you don't have to like the feedback to benefit from it. You may not always agree with what is said in the moment, but that doesn't mean, number one, that it's not valuable. And then number two, that it is something that you can't adapt to. Growth is not easy. Growth is telling yourself a lot of hard truths. And if you don't learn to accept that and learn that it is not personal, it is data, it's feedback. If you don't learn that at a very early age and at a very young age and like a very early time in your career, it will eat you alive for time to come. This is a job and you are trying to meet the standards of somebody else. This has nothing to do with you and it is not personal. And I am having to learn that, it's like still learning that at this grown age. So yeah, that is my biggest thing that I tell people, no matter if you're giving feedback or receiving feedback, it is not personal. It is a way of improvement, evolving. Is now we're going to do a reflection activity. So the prompt is think of feedback that initially frustrated you, but ultimately made you better. We're going to give you 2 to 3 minutes to journal, and then we're going to be back. So you're going to pause me, or I'm going to pause myself actually. And your favorite auntie is back. So, question, what changed because of that feedback? How did you change as a person? What did you do to improve? Did you apply the feedback that you received? Think about that. Okay. Moving on in our program. So now we're going to talk about stress and professionalism. Stress in professional settings is inevitable. It is something that nobody can get around. Again, no matter where you are in your career, where you are in years of experience, stress is something that will find you. Whether you have the most important job. I think I saw a quote on TikTok, could have been Instagram, and it was like, the worst thing I did was become important at my job. And baby, if that ain't the truth. But unmanaged stress leads to emotional reactivity. I think that's self-explanatory. When you're not in the best space mentally, or like if a lot of stuff is on your shoulders, you're liable to act out. It happens to the best of us. So take a moment and reflect. What are your top two professional stress triggers? These are some of the common ones that people mention when having conversation. It is unrealistic deadlines. It happens to majority of us. The people upstairs, they want and have a vision of what they want things to look like, but then I'm here and I'm the one that actually has to execute it, and it's unrealistic. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna find a common ground, but I need you to know this is not a realistic deadline. Lack of clarity. Again, you have a program that they want to see, but nobody has a vision or a direction that they want to go in or that they want to see. And it's like when you ask questions, I don't know. So, baby, at this point, I don't know either. But at the end of the day, you still have to make it work. So, I like to ask for clarity as much as I can. I ask questions at the very beginning. Public correction. I can't stand that. I would do this differently at an event. Oh, if this was me, I would do this. Or, hey, you need to be doing this. That's the quickest way to irritate me and the way to, a couple years ago, make me go off. But now it's the quickest way to get cut off. I'm gonna still keep it professional and keep it cute and keep it cordial. But after this is said and done, I'm good on it, boo. It can make you feel undervalued. That is for sure. It definitely can make you feel undervalued. Poor communication. That is a thing that can stress you out. You're going and you're asking questions, but there's no clarity, there is no communication, lack of communication. You're getting bits and pieces. Information is at the top, but it's not trickling down. Stuff like that can trigger you, especially if you're waiting on answers from higher ups to make decisions on things in the moment. That stuff definitely can be frustrating and it can tear you up. The biggest takeaway from this section is just to know that you can't manage what you can't identify. If you can't put a name to it, you can't address the situation. I'm dead. That be me. This is me at my job. All them sticky notes on my head. They all over my desk. If I could show you a picture. Oof. So these are some of the practical tools and techniques that you can use to address your stressful moments. In the moment strategies, there is box breathing. You inhale 4 times, you hold it, for 4 seconds, you exhale for 4 seconds, and then you hold it again, and you keep doing that. Slow your speech, reframing your language, asking clarifying questions, and taking a brief reset if needed. And that can look like a 10-minute walk or like just stepping away from your computer for 10 minutes. Go on, make a cup of coffee. The best thing in the middle of like a stressful day at work, a nice cup of coffee. But some things that you can do for long-term resilience and like bouncing back in like those hard moments is you can establish clear boundaries from the beginning. You can have reflective practice. You can do delegation. You can do professional mentorship. I call them micro mentorships. That way it's not too much of a commitment. Shout out to Dr. Joy. And honestly, lately, what long-term resilience can look like a practical strategy, it can look like rest, using your PTO, using the breaks that you actually get on your job and not sitting in the office and just like stepping away from your desk by actually going outside. It can just be you resting. I honestly believe in taking days off. I took the day off so I can do this presentation and get the stuff done. I just, I can't be stressed out at work. So, or if I am stressed out at work, I have to learn how to take my breaks. That's kind of it for the most part. Emotional endurance is not, I mean, it's built, it's not inherited. It is something that you have to practice every single day when you wake up. Every single day you wake up and you make a choice. And I think in the context of what we're talking about today, every day that you wake up, you make a choice if you're going to respond in a negative way or a positive way. You make the choice every single day to adapt to situations. And honestly, you got to be your authentic self in said situations too. That has gotten me a very, very long way. Resilience reframing. So here's the formula I want you to remember: challenge, reflection, adjustment, and growth. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is it teaching me in the moment? Ask, how can this situation make me better instead of why is the situation happening to me? I think we ask the why question a lot, versus like in the moment thinking about what is the situation trying to teach me, you know? So think about a recent challenge or one lesson that life has taught you. Take a second, think about it, write it down. So as you're writing and as you're thinking about it, think about this saying, when you reframe a setback, you reclaim your power. Always turn your negative experience into a powerful lesson that was learned. I think if you can reframe the way you think about the events that happen in life, you can what am I trying to say? I guess you can not say you can manifest a better reality, but you can literally make a better reality in that moment. If you think about the positivity in life, your life will be more positive. If you think about the negativity in your life will be more negative. When you reframe a setback, you reclaim your power. Okay, so workplace culture and long-term success. Do adaptability and workplace culture go hand in hand? So, your response to stress does not only affect you, it affects your team. Panic spreads, calm spreads, professionalism spreads. How adaptability shows up: leadership readiness, promotional potential, team trust, organizational health. When you are adaptable in the workplace, it's kind of like the head and the body of a snake. The head is the main portion and the body follows. Whatever the head does, the body again will react and it will follow. If the leadership of a team is showing up ready and like willing and able to get through any and all challenges presented or get through any tough conversations, any feedback, any if they show up and they are ready, the team shows up in the same light. If you are promoting people within the team, stuff like that also makes a difference. I have some coworkers that I know left because they felt as though they were passed over for different opportunities or promotions at the job. And because of the conversations that I have, I know that is a thing for people. If I don't feel valued or appreciated, I'm not going to stay at a place long. So if you are actively giving people something to look forward to, and I know depending on the office, it may not always be a promotion. It could look like professional development. It could look like taking lead on projects. If there is no advancement for people in an organization, that will also cause them to want to leave or cause resentment and things like that. If you find yourself in a moment to where there is nothing that you can do, or there is no changes that can be made, or you're a mid-level manager, or if you report into somebody and like they are not able to tell you things as honestly as you would like to, that can also cause issues in the workplace. So I think if people are more transparent, you can't tell me everything. I've had a really good supervisor in the sense of he was very transparent with the stuff that he could share with us. And I think that also made a difference, and it made us trust him more. We came from like a really supervisor that was the opposite. So that was like a breath of fresh air to us. And it honestly changed our team dynamic for the better. And organizational health, if you are a person that doesn't panic under pressure, if you're a person that is reliable, if you're a person that is investing into your team, overall, it will change the morale of the office, the group, the student organization, wherever you are in life. It'll change that whole dynamic. If I feel as though I can rely and trust in my leadership, it makes me want to show up and be my best self. I think that's probably one of the biggest pieces. It makes me show up and want to be my best self. So again, would you trust somebody who panics under pressure? I would not. Let that sink in. Hello. So we have another scenario. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let it go. You're doing another scenario. Interactive scenario at that. It's a pressure test. So your supervisor gives you feedback publicly that you disagree with. Answer these three questions for me. Question number one, what is your professional response in that moment? Question number two, what is your follow-up strategy? And then question number three, how do you maintain professionalism in that moment? We were supposed to discuss it. That's why it says discuss, but write it down and then think about your answers. Period. Okay, so your personal adaptability audit, rate yourself on a scale 1 through 5. Here is the options above my head. One means you strongly agree, two means you disagree, three means you're neutral in the situation, four, you disagree, and then five, you strongly disagree. So rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. The first question is, or first statement, I adjust quickly when plans change. Second statement, I handle feedback well. Third statement, I manage stress professionally. And the fourth and final statement, I see growth in setbacks. Recently, I had a leadership change in my office, and before he left, I asked the question, I was like, where are my areas of improvement? I feel like I'm really good at what I do, and I'm a really great person. Again, I get a lot of opportunities that I'm thankful for. But because of that, I feel like people aren't always honest with me. And I need that. The way I show up as my true, authentic self is I ask for feedback. The only way you can grow as a person is by asking for feedback. He told me, you are great in a lot of areas, but there's this one area, execution, that you can grow and like learn, you can become better in. And honestly, I would have to agree. That is something I know about myself. I'm a overall big picture, strategic plan, vision, somebody's chief of staff type of person, but I'm in a position that still requires me to be the execution piece. So, because of that, I also know where I'm doing really good in a lot of areas, but I can still grow in this set area. And I want to make sure that I do that. It's important to ask for feedback. Don't run from it, embrace it. And then the question that goes along with this slide is where do you need to strengthen your emotional muscle? For me, it'll be like speaking up and giving people said feedback instead of, I'm a person, I know the words that I say, they hold weight, so I don't tell people much. But because of that, I often wonder, am I stopping somebody else's growth and development because I don't want to have that 5 minutes of awkward conversation? So I often think about that because I don't think I speak up enough and say how I feel. I'm a Libra, I'm a middle child, and I'm the eldest daughter. I don't want to rock the boat. So, yeah. We getting a little vulnerable here, ain't we? Thank you. The biggest thing I want you to take away is that change is constant. Pressure is inevitable and growth is optional. I think again, every day when you wake up, you have to choose just to be different and grow every single day. It is literally a choice you make when you wake up. The professionals who succeed long term are not the ones who avoid stress. They are the ones who grow through it. I know a person that has a tattoo that says grow through what you go through. And at first I was like, why you got that big tattoo? That was insane. But I honestly understand the message. We were in college and it was very hard on a lot of us. Speaking for NIs, college was hard. You got through it, but it was hard. So I understand the situation that most of you are in. I had a job. I worked on campus, I became a GA, and then eventually I fell into higher education, but I digress. It is hard. So grow through what you go through. I get that statement a lot and it kind of popped into my head when I say that. But yeah, professionals who succeed long term are not the ones who avoid stress, who they're the ones who grow through it. So just grow through the changes in life. Remember, when change comes, and it will you be rattled or will you be rooted? How are you going to calm yourself down in the moment? Are you going to be rattled or are you going to be rooted? Be rooted. Don't be rattled. I think I'm just saying it because it sounds cute when I say it, rooted, not rattled. Hello. Thank you. And I put that on a t-shirt. It is about to be the end of the workday. I have had an amazing time doing this presentation. And if this presentation ends up somewhere it's not supposed to be, I'm gonna sue y'all. I'm just kidding. My name is Nyla, and thank you for investing in your growth. Here's the way you can keep up with me. Okay, we can have fun now the presentation is over. I was a little nervous. And I hope my eyes weren't crossing looking at both of these screens, child. But my quote in life is that life is transformational, not transactional. So I kind of lead with that. I believe in leaving things better than you found it. As I look at my wall of my workstation now, I have a quote from my undergrad experience, no, grad school. My admin when I was in grad school, Jill Gamble. It says, "Be fearless in the pursuit of what set your soul on fire because life is too short and you have so much to offer." And I am just grateful for Vashti for giving me the chance to talk to you all. And I hope this could have meant nothing. You could have taken away nothing from this presentation, but we have a pop quiz coming up anyway. It's 5 questions and you better pass. This journey is not going to be easy, but at the end of the day, it's going to be worth it. And the person that you will be in 10 years will be so grateful that you are not only listening to me, and my funny self, but it's going to be grateful that you are taking a moment to think about growth and like feedback and how you can evolve as a person and how you can adapt to certain. That is funny that you gave me a topic on code switching because I code switch a lot. However, comma, I'm still my true authentic self. I still talk the same way I talk to the CEO, the same way I talk to the janitor in my building, and people appreciate me for that. If you don't get nothing else from this presentation, and it's at the very end, so that's insane. You have to be adaptable. Don't ever get it twisted, but never lose who you are to your core. Of course, when I walk into a room with the president of our university, I would not talk too crazy to her, but at the end of the day, I can't control who I am and how I show up. I show up how I am. So, and I think that has gotten me very far in life, and I want people to do more of that. Still be and perform the way that you need to, but also be a true, authentic self at the same time. There is a space for that. So yeah, my name is Nyla, aka Miami. If you need Nyla, hello. I'm again the assistant director of programs, training and leadership development and new Maverick orientation at the University of Texas at Arlington. Period. I did it. So yeah, y'all have a good one and thank you. Clap for me. Clap for me.